First principle of Lean is understand the customer and value from their perspective. Okay, it's no different for IT. The difference for IT, however, is that in many cases, for most IT organizations, they're not dealing directly with the real-world customer. They're dealing with internal users who are dealing with the outside world. Okay? But don't be fooled that that should stop you. You still require to understand deeply what the real-world customer wants, because that will help you understand the real needs of the service user. You have a much better conversation. And it's about lining up the service user and us to meet the real-world customer. So it is now the job of IT to understand real customers. That is not what traditionally happens. Okay? But that is the first principle, and if you don't get that right, even if you get all the other principles right, it doesn't matter, you're dead. Because all the principles are very much like the vital organs of a body. Okay? If you remove any one of them, you die. You can't say, well, I died of a heart attack, but my lungs were in perfect condition. All right? It has to be seen together. But where do we start? With the customer. So what's the customer or the service user challenge these days? Like all of us, they don't have time. Okay? We're offering lots more choice and all these things, but actually this creates a lot more customer confusion. We give a lot more choice to customers when very often that's not what they want. They want help. They want you to tell me what I need to do in many cases. But we need to be able to have a system where if the customer wants choice, he can take it. But if he needs your advice, he can take it. Okay, so what are the problems of the service user? Now, I am referring straight back to one of the last books that Womack and Jones wrote, which was Lean Solutions. Well, the reason they called it Lean Solutions rather than Lean Manufacturing and Lean Thinking was there was a lot of new information from the service industry. So they created the Lean Solutions, and I'm very pleased that a number of the sections in Lean Solution actually came from a lot of the work that I'm going to talk about now. So if you want to know where some of this stuff comes from, it's been distilled again by Womack and Jones. They say things like, I want you to solve my problem completely. It's the same for a real-world customer or a service user. Okay? I don't want to say I want that bit solved and then find somebody else to solve it, and then somebody else to solve it. Very often IT departments are functionalized, they specialize in various areas, and we expect the customer to run around our organization to try and find out who they talk to. It's a form of time-sharing a customer or a user and who wants to be time-shared. So we really now started thinking about, well, that's not a good example of flow. That's flow chopped up and scattered to the winds. So solve my problem completely, one-stop shop. Don't waste my time or cause me hassle. Okay? These are self-evident in many ways, okay? And if you want to know them in detail, I recommend you go and have a look at the Lean Solutions book. I have adapted some of these, as you'll see in a moment. Minimize the cost of doing business with you, okay? In order for me to have service for you, it costs me time, it costs me money. Well, look, not only is hassle-free, I need it to be, cost neutral at the very least. But very often, for the customer to interact with the IT department, it starts costing them money. Provide exactly what I need and deliver value where I need it. This is not a one-size-fits-all, okay? We have to have systems and processes within IT that can deliver to customers what they want, where they need it, and often how they need it. Now, these are questions we don't usually ask ourselves within IT. We usually have a standard catalog. This is where you get, this is standard delivery time, and you can pick it up at the door. I'm being a little bit sarcastic just for effect, but there's a lot of companies like that. Okay, reduce the number of decisions I must make to resolve my problems. I've often found self-help pages for customers not to be helpful at all. In fact, I would go so far as to say that a lot of the IT self-help pages are self-serving, means they only serve the IT department. Really, we're going to bring that out because a lot of information we are putting up for self-service carries with big assumptions about the customer has time. The customer has the level of sophistication to be able to put this stuff together. Okay? And actually, some of the advice that goes up on self-help can be positively dangerous unless you know what you're doing. So the level of sophistication of the user is particularly important. Yet we tend to treat the customer as a one-size-all fictitious customer. It's not. And most of what we put up on self-help are for things that have gone wrong, that were caused by the IT department, which the customer shouldn't be trying to figure out how to fix anyway. Okay? We are making self-help fix problems that we should not have created in the first place. Okay? And guess what? It reduces the cost, because instead of us doing it, the customer's doing it. But it's very presumptuous to think that we can steal the customer's time. Don't get me to help you, I want you to help me. This is what customers say. Look, in order for me to get this service, I've got to go through that, then I go through this, then I go through a hoop, then I go through a program. I've got to do all this stuff so I can get my PC configured the way I want it. Okay? Again, there's this notion of self-help, and the customer is now part of your production department. And I think that's audacious. I'm all for co-creation, but I'm not all for co-delivery. That's our job. Okay. So this is a question for all of you. What would an IT or an ICT department do if they had to pay for all the operational and service time they wasted? What would they do? So you've got an IT budget at the moment, and you're looking at your costs, and then if somebody's done some benchmarking and somebody says, well, actually, your costs are much higher than somebody else, but those costs reflect the IT costs. They do not really reflect the cost to the business. So how much are you really costing the business? Now just imagine you had to pay for all the productivity lost, either in the factory or in the software development area, because your IT service provision stinks. If you had to pay for that, if the CIO had to pay for that, what do you think would happen? This is a question. Okay? It's now on the CIO's budget. He has to pay for all this wasted time. Okay, I'm going to help you out here. I am thinking he's going to find out what's causing all this waste. Let's go and take a look, because I'm now paying for it. All right? Before, the business used to pay for it, and it was hidden. But I'm paying for it now, and I don't want to. Let's go and find out what's causing it and stop it, because it's costing us money. All right? So why don't we pretend, if we're a CIO, that we do have to pay for it? Because at the end, we all do, because this leads to higher prices in the marketplace. So these hidden costs that are caused by IT are what we really should be focusing on. And they are much bigger than your waste in your IT. And this is a clue to why lean in IT is different to lean in IT manufacturing. Yes, you can optimize IT, but lean in IT is about optimizing the business, because the waste there and the value and the costs associated with that are much, much bigger than the cost of your budget. And that's the opportunity. Now we can start showing how much waste we create. We'll turn that round. We can start demonstrating to the board how much value IT creates, instead of just being a cost center. But we've got to start thinking about this issue. Okay? If you don't learn anything else from this presentation, take this home, put it in front of your CIO, and said, how much of everybody else's budget are we wasting? And the scary thing is you don't know. Because a lot of demand comes in, and it's remedial. Think of things the customer would say to you, the user, you broke it, you fixed it. You're not creating value when you fix my problem. You're restoring value back to me. I was enjoying the product. You're giving it back to me, and that's creating value? No, you're just putting it back to where it's supposed to be. Nobody wants this. It costs us a fortune. The customer downtime, the impact. But hey, I fixed 10 of these in the last hour. Okay? Let me just start saying, we need to start taking out these things. Nobody wants it. Do not use lean to make your incidents go faster. You get cheaper, neater, faster waste. And if you automate it, it's going up and down the wires, and you don't even feel the customer's pain anymore. Okay? We really need to get a different understanding of what waste is. In most IT organizations, and you need to hold your breath. No, I'm going to do up one of these people polls. How much of the total income in demand do you think the remedial demand accounts for? I'm going to start counting up, and when I reach a percentage, you think, put your hand up and keep your hand up. Okay, the total remedial demand. 10%, 20, 30, keep it up, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, yeah. All right, that's a wide range. And you know what? I know that's a straw poll here. That's exactly what the evidence shows as well. We see it varies by industries and size, anything from something like 20% to 90%, with the average around 70. Okay? So that's how much work we are creating for ourselves and then processing again and maybe not doing a good job of fixing it, the tire, the second time. So we have another go at the tire. So we have repeats of waste, of waste, of waste. So it's really about identifying the sources and shutting it off.